Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. There is so much Taurus energy as I speak because Mercury, which is the planet of communication, just stationed direct at 5 degrees and 51 minutes of Taurus, and it entered its shadow on April 7th when it got to 5 degrees of Taurus, and it retrograded on April 21st, the day after the total solar eclipse. It retrograded at the world axis at 15 degrees and 38 minutes of Taurus. And anything at 15 degrees of the fixed signs impacts every one of us. And the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And Mercury retrograded at the world point just the day after the solar eclipse, where things are chaotic, and just gives you a lot more information, a lot of news, big news in your life on the world stage. And now Mercury stationed direct, it will clear its shadow on May 31st, meaning that it exceeds 15 degrees of Taurus. But 15 degrees of the fixed signs is very significant because the other part of the story, and so with that said, Mercury is direct. Some things will be revised and redone and switched over that happened during the eclipse season. Some things will be tweaked up. Some things are permanently done. Eclipses eclipse people and situations in and out of our lives. So some things are done forever. Some things need to be revised or redone, okay? Because now Mercury is direct and it will clear its shadow altogether on May 31st. But the other component to this is that Jupiter, which is the grand benefic, entered Taurus today at 1:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Jupiter expands whatever it comes into contact with. Generally, it's positive energy. It is the planet of optimism and abundance and expansion and higher learning and wisdom and the pursuit of knowledge. But if it's dealing with a challenging energy, it can expand and exaggerate that too. And Jupiter will transit in the sign of Taurus through May 25th of next year. So the last couple of years, Jupiter enters a sign, then it returns to the last degrees of the previous sign and goes back and forth. That happened in 2020. Jupiter entered Aquarius, it briefly entered Pisces, and then last year it is in Pisces and it briefly entered Aries. I think that happened twice, but then it came back into Aries. Now Taurus gets the full, gets it from now through May of next year, the way I'm used to Jupiter being 1 year in one sign. So I feel the last couple of years a little bumpy going back and forth. And in Aries, it's been helpful in the sense that we all need to have courage in this difficult time. But the whole time that Jupiter was in Aries, since the end of last year, since December 20th, its ruler, Mars, was out of bounds. Mars went out of bounds on October 22nd, meaning that it exceeds the sun's path by declination and does not play by the rules. And this can exaggerate and bring very Mars-like energy, which I think it did. And so now Jupiter's transiting in Taurus, which, it's funny, Venus is actually out of bounds right now. And Venus rules the sign of Taurus. It also rules the sign of Libra. But there is a stellium of planets and points in Taurus currently because we just had an eclipse. It was at the final degree of Aries. It was at 29 degrees and 50 minutes of Aries, the total solar eclipse on April 20th. But it also was only 10 minutes away from Taurus. And so, of Aries, I think I said Aries. So we're getting into the Aries, Libra eclipses. But it only was 10 minutes off from being in Taurus. So that energy still. And now Jupiter is expanding the Taurus story. Uranus, the great awakener, the planet of chaos and change and upheaval and enlightenment, has been transiting on and off in the sign of Taurus since May 15th of 2018. And Uranus does not like being in Taurus because Uranus is fixed, rapid change, and Taurus doesn't like change. It likes stability and permanence and things being status quo. So it's waking us all up to the beauty of nature in a very inorganic and challenging time, and more use of nature in energy and other ways of using it. But I think a lot of us, it's interesting that in the middle of the pandemic, when we really were locked up, a lot of people were monitoring how many steps they took outside in nature. They were using gadgets to monitor the amount of steps, which normally we would do and take for granted. But it's showing how inorganic and how much technology is kind of eroding that, And I think right now, this new moon that's approaching too. So we have Jupiter in Taurus. This is about abundance. This is about expansion. This is about opportunity. The eclipses were in the Taurus, Scorpio, or the last degree of Aries, but Taurus energy is very strong. And, Taurus is your skills and your resources and your assets. And it also represents the economy, how you earn money, the banking system, agriculture, and Mother Nature, and a lot of focus on nature. Uranus is bringing more attention to that, I think, in a time where technology is more and more of a focus. We just had the new age of Aquarius, and Pluto, the planet of death and regeneration, entered the sign of Aquarius, which is ruled by the planet Uranus and is the sign of technology and social media in modern times. Pluto will transit in Aquarius on and off through 2044. So whether we like it or not, we're embracing all the change and dealing with very inorganic concepts like AI, which I find terrifying. But Uranus and Taurus, again, Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is transiting in a sign that is connected with nature and with real experiences and with employing all the five senses and really dealing with dirt and nature and grit and, good food and sense and, things that are real, And so we're in a time that we're searching for what's real, in a time that people are very disconnected. And I think Jupiter in Taurus brings much more beauty and much more abundance in many ways, whether it's that you want to be creative and you pick up painting, or you're creating a garden literally, you're working on your summer garden, or you're journaling things you want to manifest and magnetize into your life, or you're learning how to cook healthy food or any kind of food that you're enjoying to do. Ways that you can bring abundance and beauty and creativity into your life. There is a new moon on May 19th, and I'll do more about this. I've just been kind of really catching myself from these eclipses. They were over the top, and both Mars and Venus were out of bounds, and those were the rulers of these eclipses, because Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, which was the lunar eclipse on May 5th, and Mars was out of bounds from October 22nd through May 5th, meaning that it does not play by the rules and is way over the top. It rules the sign of Aries, where Jupiter has been transiting up until today. Jupiter just changed signs, so this is a day to manifest. I know I'm talking a lot and that maybe I'm rambling, but this is really a day that there's a shift going on. Jupiter has changed signs. It's a new 12-year journey and adventure in the sign of Taurus. And it's not overnight. It takes time. What do you want to grow in your life? What brings value? And with these eclipses, the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which was a south node eclipse, letting go of that which no longer serves you. The lunar eclipse opposed Uranus, the planet of chaos and enlightenment, seeing things in a whole other way. Again, maybe chaotic, maybe very disruptive, maybe finding out secrets or things you didn't know, or again, something jarring could happen, but it could also be something that changes your life in a good way, ultimately, that gets you out of your comfort zone in order to grow and evolve. Scorpio is about purging. Pluto station retrograde in the sign of Aquarius at the very first degree of Aquarius on May 1st. We feel it 5 days before and 5 days after when an outer planet stations. Pluto rules Scorpio in modern astrology. Again, major change, major departures, major beginnings, and uncovering heavy information. But it's ultimately about empowerment. And this lunar eclipse was at the world axis at 15 degrees of Scorpio. Mercury retrograded on April 21st at 15 degrees of Taurus. Jupiter is now transiting in Taurus. It will retrograde on September 4th at 15 degrees and 34 minutes of Taurus, setting off where Mercury retrograded on April 21st, setting off the world point, setting off the lunar eclipse from November 8th of last year. There was a total lunar eclipse at 16 degrees of Taurus, which was exactly conjunct Uranus, the planet of chaos and awakening. And so all that you've been dealing with, the change, the turmoil, and getting out of your comfort zone, maybe this has helped you to develop skills and talents that you didn't have before. Maybe you were coerced to do so, but maybe you've become very resourceful in some way, and now it's bringing more value and beauty to your life. Mars, the planet of action and how you get things done, is going to change signs, and it's going to enter Leo on May 20th. It's going to square Jupiter because it's getting to zero fixed. Right now, Jupiter is squaring Pluto in the sky because Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Again, the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Jupiter and Pluto are squaring one another. They perfect tomorrow at 0 degrees and 18 minutes of the fixed signs. That is a combination equated with wealth and abundance, but also could be, could be a sort of power playing type of energy too with that. It's very intense. It's augmenting whatever's happening. And then Mars sets off Pluto and Jupiter on the 20th, and Mars will transit in the sign of Leo through July the 10th rather. So that's about pursuing your passion and what makes your heart happy. Again, about creativity and romance and fun. Venus rules the sign of Taurus, and right now we've got the North Node of Karma transiting in Taurus. We've got Jupiter transiting in Taurus. It's newly in the sign of Taurus. We've got a new moon on May 19th at 28 degrees and 25 degrees and 28 minutes of the fixed earth sign of Taurus. 28 degrees and 25 minutes. That's what I meant to say. And that is close to Pleiades. That's a fixed star that is an unfortunate one associated with violence and misfortune. But it's also, we've all been dealing with a difficult time, finding beauty in a challenging time. Mercury is conjunct the North Node of Karma, and Jupiter, the grand benefic, is also conjunct these 2 points in the house of optimism and manifesting and learning. Saturn is in harmony Saturn is in harmony with Venus, and Mercury is in harmony with Saturn. And so that is a stabilizing energy, and that's positive. So I wish you all a lot of luck. There is so much happening still. Venus is out of bounds through June 1st, and that is when Jupiter meets up with the North Node of Karma at 3 degrees of Taurus, close to where the North Node is. Well, the North Node is at 3 degrees now, close to where Mercury currently is. And wish you all so much luck, and thank you.